Okay, so let's say I'm going to call this our public class journal, right? I'm using a tool called Quip. Has anyone tried it? All right. Basically, yesterday, let's say yesterday was our basically day one, right? That was week one, day one, pretty much. So I'm just gonna type it there like that. And yesterday, we were talking about like importance of using Slack for communication. It's super important to understand the the channels in Slack, the current etiquette in Slack, mentioning people, announcing on general. And then we started learning things. We were using repo website for quick iteration, and that is 9:45. So what's happening today? Let's say week one, day two. Hui, thank you for your contribution. How much is it? 15,000. 15. All right, 15,000. All right, so I start today by just doing a little, collaborative note taking. Right, I will explain a little bit more. So yesterday we talked about Slack and repo for quick Ruby experiments, right? So you know how you can type code in there, understand the errors, understand some basic data structures. What else did we do yesterday? Yeah, so some key concepts. Think about some key concepts. Okay, so this is the tool that I recommend very strongly to you if you don't have a favorite note-taking tool yet. And I'll show you the reason why very quickly. Unlike Microsoft Word or like Evernote or something, like there are too many formatting choices. Here you just basically you have the header and the paragraph, and it's all keyboard friendly. So for this week, I press there's the keyboard button for everything. I'm going to show you. It's really useful for us to just note down our thoughts, our learning points. So let's note some key concepts here, right? So yesterday we learned what do we learn? So let's say we learned some numbers and string, right? Unlike, let's say, variables array, right? You can go arrays. I'll add some more notes later. Unlike the other types of classes where you want to add pictures, styling the text, referencing tools, the note-taking tool that I want you guys to use, it has to be friendly towards code. So it's called code formatting, right? So for example, here I create. So I type at code like that. I type enter. It allows me to start typing code. And the difference between code formatting and regular formatting, Ian, are you still with us? The difference is that here, in code formatting, the width of each character is the same. So you want things to look quite clean, unlike sentences, English sentences. In code, things look like you want it clean, and also you want some colors to them, so you can tell the difference between different data types, right? So here I have number, I have string. I know I can do operator on them, and then so name is, for example, like that, and you can learn how to do puts, or you can do like age is gets.chomp. So you can start typing some key examples for you to remember. This is journaling every day. Basically, if you copy something from their lab exercise over and you're like, I don't know this. Oh, actually, this is cool. Then you just copy it over to your own private note. And over time, when you glance back every day, you can really learn a lot from that. Yes?
I was going to say that they've done studies on this of like the most effective way to learn. And one of the best things you can do to learn some concept is to think about it later outside of the classroom. Just spend 5 or 10 minutes after the class and just think about it. Oh, what was this about?
Yeah.
When you're more relaxed, I'm telling you, like, sit for real, like, study that you've done on this.
Exactly. So, for example, here, that's just one thing there, but I could also just say, you know, what did we learn? And then I just note down a few sentences here. Right? We learned this and that. What's still troubling us? You know, this and that. Okay. So give Quip a try. I like, for example, I actually prepared something called daily scrums, and this is something that I will. So I keep a note here. I go to another document. But basically, for today, the first thing I'm doing is I just do the daily Scrum process. Okay, daily Scrum. Has anyone heard the word Scrum before? Yeah, it's just a one of the terminologies in Agile programming. But we're checking in very quickly. It's like not more than 5 minutes. Then the three things. So you can decide the three questions. These are our key things I'm asking. Okay? Taking notes, as you see the way I take notes, I hope to suggest some of the good practices in note taking. Respect to building software applications, to taking note of codes and key concepts in programming. Okay, what's the favorite thing you learned yesterday? Let's just contribute a little bit here. Let's go one round. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be, the best thing or what's. Yeah. So don't spend too much time on that. Okay. What's the favorite thing you learned yesterday? I start. Well, I learned that in Ruby string you can do dot capitalize and it will turn the first character into a capital letter, but all the other characters it will lower the case. So it looks like this. For example, Adam Smith, right? Dot capitalize. You see how I'm doing note taking? This is Ruby syntax string and then this is a comment, and then I learned that this become Adam Smith. So that's capitalizing. So I just crystallized my learning point from that one. That's an example, okay? So what else did we learn yesterday? We'll start with who wanna go next? Oh yeah, so certainly. So for example, I just say capitalize, and then now you say dot each method, okay? And then maybe each will be 1, 2, 3 dot each, and then you can do something in the block, right? Would you like to go next?
I learned that the mistakes that you make
Excellent.
are explicitly explained to you on the right-hand side, which is kind of useful.
Mistakes. Human mistake. Learn that human mistake are explained back by
very explicitly.
Computer.
Yeah.
Something
And I
like
that
undefined
right-hand
variable. Yeah, excellent point. When you see all these red errors, that's an opportunity to learn. We keep saying that, right? It looks scary, but it's exactly the feedback you want. In life, I sometimes bring up like cooking. If you cook the wrong ingredient, if you mess up a few things, you don't know until you eat that actually you messed up. With the computer, as you building your applications, you know you messed up right there, right then. So it facilitates fast learning curve. So fast human immediately. So that's like, very fast response, right? It's nice. All right, Kui. Yeah, so you say string methods like dot reverse, right? So for example, your favorite thing is about a string is that this reversing is pretty awesome. So for example, awesome dot reverse. I like to do this again. That represent the output. When Ruby read this code, you just ignore it, right? So in here, what's the result? Right? And then you basically here will just say and other cool methods. Okay? So your favorite thing from yesterday is reverse. It's pretty cool. Or there's an array reverse thing too, right? 1, 2, 3 dot reverse. And that will get you 3, 2, 1, right? Right? Sometimes I kind of get lazy only for that kind of like array, but I encourage you guys to always keep sort of very clean, comma, space, structure. Ian, just tell me one favorite thing you learned yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah? Oh, fantastic. So, for example, here you have each with index. Sometimes when you look through an array and then you need to keep track of the index. The word index may be new, it just means a counter, right? That's another word for it. So each with index is like, let's say, if we have a ranking, Adele, Bieber, and and maybe another, this Charlie Pew, right? And then you want to know you print out the ranking. So each with index, do, right? Now I'm using the short syntax again. The first thing is the element, so I can name it anything. I name them singer or maybe artist. And then the second one is index. So here you can add your code like index plus 1, which is 1 for the first person, 2 for the second. Okay. Now if this is not clear, don't worry. You note down in there, ask a TA about each with index, right? As we go through things, I'm sure there are some things that you're like, wait, I'm not sure. You can ask now, or just write down in your personal journal that I still don't get that, okay? All right.
Is there a good way to note a question in the journal?
Note a question in journal. Yeah, this is the good question. So everyone's note-taking preference is different. So the way I do it is I just add a few things to the top here. So I'm like something like a to-do. So for example, in my note-taking here, I just like ask about each with index, okay? And hello. Ask about each with index, and then later on when I'm done, then I just mark as done, right? Or as you have more things here, you can move it down after it's done. And then, for example, done, then you can also just, it can be anything that suits you, really. So you don't have to use a checklist. You can just use, the standard bullet, okay? And when it's done, you don't care about it anymore. You can strike through or just move it to the bottom of the document, what you already learned. Just put it in an area that's nice and easy to see, and you can bold it if you like. So there's a section in your document that contains the questions you may want to ask if you don't want to ask them one by one. Does it answer the question? How can you know the answer? Great. So paste those questions on Slack or ask them directly in class. Or paste to Google and then also give that a try as well. The point is that if you start asking 5 questions a day, and hopefully a few of them you will get the answer you remember, right? You don't intend to remember everything. That's fine. I really like just noting when I'm on the phone and everything, I just put it down here. And Quip is fabulous because you see how I reference another document and it's just right here. I never need to go and get the link to the document. Another document here is first class. It means I have access to it right away. Or I can just say, hey Laura, take a look at, right? And then that's collaborative stuff. Okay, Louis? Oh yeah, one of everyone's favorite, split and join. So you learn that you can do join on, basically join works, join on for array of string, right? So it's self-explanatory. You can join with no argument. So A, B, C, okay, dot join, what do you get? ABC, right? Or you can say 1, 2, dot join, comma, with space, then you get what? 1, 2. Extremely useful. All right. Did we go through everyone? Lloyd, do you have any favorite thing from yesterday?
I thought index was really cool. What was it?
Oh yeah, the dot index function method. Okay, so it means that what's an example of an index? Something that you have a, you know. Okay, so you can actually use index for an array or string, I think, right? I don't know, but in this case, more like we're talking about the string here. This is amazing, and you want to know where the amazing substring, the part, the amazing string appears in the bigger string. So then you say index amazing or this amaze, it's all the same. This will return, does anyone know? A number. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Okay? It means that if you take this string, you get the index 8. You see, it may look funny, but this is just the index and this is just a string, right? This will return, what is there? A. Okay? And then you like, well, I want 5 characters from that. Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you get 5 letters. Right? It's still making sense? Do you see, just looking at this simple note-taking tool, we can have a quick overview of what we learned yesterday. And it's quite powerful to see, wow, we learned a lot yesterday. The strings, the arrays, the numbers, and the variables. Okay, Dan, do you have anything from yesterday, like favorite thing you learned? Yeah, thank you. So that quite complete that for us. Not split. I think split is just really cool. This is a string, right? And then if you split, normally you get this is a string. All right. And another example of this of split. 1, 2, 3, right? This is called comma separated value. But let's say if I just have, like, for example, Harley 32 email, let's say phone number 019 da 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 da. And then if you just suddenly you see that, and then you split by the space and the comma, then what you get is an array of information about me. This will be 32. Notice this is all string for now, right? Something like that. Still, it looks clear? So, yeah.
Let's say this would be very useful for Excel sheets. A lot
Yeah.
of times you're going to export out an Excel sheet, and it's going to give you the string on the left. Then you're going to need to format it, then import it into your program.
Who has heard of CSV, comma separated values, before? Right? You know, an Excel file is a table file, but you can save it as a comma separated value file. So it's just a text file where this is the first cell, second cell, third cell, and then the second row will be the second line of text. So you can imagine your Ruby program can just read the file and extract the information out.
Very useful.
Okay, so that's good. I will share this with the class, right? This is the public journal. We can add more things. And so partly, it may look very similar to some of your private journaling notes, but hopefully this can help us. Right, what difficulty for you right now? And just, again, let's go around. It can be anything. Don't be shy. Just say anything there, right? Okay, Quý? Is there anything that's difficult?
Sometimes I can see the mess up upstream and rain, so I need to go and
Upstream.
a string and the rain.
Very good. So is that the differences between arrays and string, or some methods are in both arrays and strings. This can be difficult to remember. Yeah, this can be confusing. Yeah. For example, you say, split. Is it for array or is it for string? Right? I forgot now. Okay, let's try. You can go to the terminal and I can split a string and it becomes an array. And then I can try to split an array, it complains. Undefined method split. That's good. But then you see, if I do dot reverse, is it for string or array? Oh, it's for both. So it can be pretty confusing. Because split and join may feel very similar, but split is for string, join is for array. So that's a bit weird.
Sure means for the string and array, you need to remember is the best editor have to
Best what?
do the best editor have to remember the method.
I would say don't rely on the text editor. The text editor is dumb on that one. You just type dots s and then text editor will just say split and then you just type it in and then
So
it makes.
will list all
Yeah, it's just complete. By the way, Ian, that's why I want you to sit closer. It's really hard to hear from here to there. So just speak louder next time. And then if you get tired, you know that tomorrow you want to sit next to me over here. Great. Ian, anything that's difficult from yesterday? Just say one thing. Oh, it's like, what is this, 2i and 2s thing, right? It feels weird. Now, I've shown you how to do coding formatting, right? Code formatting in blocks. I'm showing you how to do it in this one word. You can highlight this, and then you can press this, and that is, it looks like code. It's easy to see. Another way is as I'm typing, I do 2 curly braces, dot 2s, and then I type that again, and I can keep typing. Okay, what is this thing, right? So if you have a string like 1, 2, 3, pretty much, for example, here an example is 1, 2, 3 dot 2i give you an integer, right? And then if you have an integer but you turn it to a string, then you get a string. I even show you a little example is that if you take a range and you convert to an array, sometimes you learn by looking at more things. If you only look at 2i and you're like, what's the point? It's weird. I have 1, 2, 3 anyway. But now you're seeing, oh, I have 2i, 2s, and 2a, integer, string, and array. Then things start to make sense. Right? So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Well, there's no 2 range because an array is like.
So the 2a only work with the comma separator.
It works with a lot of things, but you don't worry about them for now. So if you take a number, you convert to an array, it's an array of 1 element. But don't worry about it. This is just very useful range practice that you can try. Okay? So it's about this data structure. Integer. Why do you want to do 2i? This is so that you can do, after you do 2i, then you can plus 1 to it. Then this will return 1, 2, 4, right? But if you just take this and you do plus 1, it will complain. There's an error. You cannot add a number with a string. But if you do 1, 2, 3 with 1, then you get 1, 2, 3, 1 because adding 2 strings together is like that. Yeah? You see, just talking through the problems, hopefully that clarifies a little bit. So Ian, this is the 2i thing you just talked about, right? Thank you. Louis, anything that may be difficult you want to share? Yeah, different arguments with the join, right? So do join method can be confusing, right? Great. Quý, what's the difficulty? Oh, sorry, you already started, right? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Ian,
Confused about updating an element in an array.
updating?
An element.
Oh, so the word in computer programming is we call it updating something. It just means what? Changing, right? The updating an element in an array. So it's like if I have, the top, so the top singers will be Adele and Bieber, and if I want to change the top singers, the first one to maybe Charlie, then this is changing the array itself. So when you do, if you print out top singers, this will return, I can just write this right now, yeah? It will return Charlie and Bieber. This is how you update the elements in an array. It does.
Because if I simply copy another array with the original array,
If you do index like this, it will work.
I do like that. I did like that.
So very quickly, right? You can try this on the REPL thing. You see, this is another benefit. When you take note in a program there where it's code formatted, I can just copy, okay? And I go to the browser. So I'm gonna bring over the browser here, and I go to the REPL to test, and I press here. Ian, can you take a look at the screen? And I run it, and I get Charlie and Bieber. Okay? So copy back and forth between your notes and the program here. It can be useful. In this text editor, the code is your first-class citizen. Anything you put in here, you run, it will Ruby will execute. The comment is a second-class citizen, where Ruby will just ignore it. But you have to add the pound. So, talking to myself, right? Then I have to add a pound. This is sort of a second-class citizen. In your journal, your English sentences are first-class citizens. You don't have to do anything, just type. But if you want to write something for Ruby, it's a second-class citizen, sort of, where you have to format it as code. Okay? And then, then a little effort, it goes a long way. You can then copy and paste. Look at this one, right? I copy everything here, and I just paste here, and I start running, and they all, should work, and of course, no problem here. Line 8. Oh, because I have some incomplete example. The ... means, fake code right now. So I just comment them out, and everything will just work. And I can start doing puts on some of this, or P, right? And then you start seeing the result. It's a very nice way to review your work. But if you keep everything that you journal every day in this repo, it's kind of hard to search for them, go back, or even print them out. But if you do your notes like this, go and hit print, it can actually show up on a piece of paper nicely. You can keep them with you if you like. Did I go through everyone? Another difficulty updating an element, that was whose question is that? Yours, right? Great. Lloyd, any difficulty? It's okay, you can say everything's easy.
Yeah,
All right. Done, any difficulty? Right.
I would have to say the say hi method with the input response.
Yeah, so say hi. This is cool, right? We've been reviewing some of those data structures, integer, numbers. This is the first time we're actually talking about methods now. None of you actually have talked about it. That's the later part of the lecture, right? Yesterday. And it's really confusing. It's hard. So say hi method. So what's difficult about it?
I guess just for me, it's the understanding the concept and getting the response back.
Yeah, excellent. No, this is very good. Thanks for asking this one, sharing this one. So this is the basic. the simplest method. It's an empty method. If you type it, then you can say, you can execute and you say hi, right? So the first 2 lines here, just define a block and there's nothing inside it. But when I call type say hi again, it checks, Ruby checks whether say hi is a variable, a local variable. That's what we've been doing, or a method. And in this case, it's a method. So it runs say hi, right? But there's nothing in here. So let's make it more interesting. So if you just say hi, now when you run this now, it will execute this code. It does say hi, and then it's done. Okay? That is the second simplest use. But sometimes you may want to return some value. Like remember the full name method? So you want to, some value equals to say hi. So when you have the method on the right hand side, and then you assign the output to a new variable. So we'll talk about that. Then when you do that, don't use puts as the last statement because puts return nil. Don't use puts. Just remember that in methods that you return a value, don't use puts. Okay, back to say hi. I still want to say hi, but I want the method to be smarter. It means every time I call the method, I can do something different with it. Here's the key, right? Do something different every time you call the method. It means you have to pass in an argument, an extra information piece. Before we do that, note this is the say hi method. You can write like that. You can also write like this. It's the same thing. We clear on that? When you call the method, you can also call say hi like this. It's the same thing. But when you have empty parentheses like this, Ruby is like, okay, I guess it's redundant. When the Ruby allows you to remove them, it's easier to read. Yeah.
So basically right now, say hi will always do the exact same thing, right?
Well, depending on your code.
Okay.
If your code has some random stuff in it, yeah, it can be different. But you're right. Right now,
when we look at it right now, they'll never do anything here.
right, exactly. Yeah, so that's what we've been investigating. Next is that so you know that this is the same thing, okay? So I just, maybe I comment it out. Okay, so what if you want to pass some information? So this is the name of the person you want to say hi. Okay, and in here you say, in my say hi method, I can have the information about the name, and it has to be a string. It's not a number. So if I call say hi with a number, I don't care. The computer will just crash. I don't care. I just know that it's a string. So if it is string, then you can actually say hi plus name. Are we okay with hi plus name? So hi plus name. Now if you want to say hi to the computer screen, then you say put hi plus name. Yes?
That means that if an input is a number, you can write it to string.
No, if you give a number, it will just crash. So don't. So for example, you can even add a comment here, right? Like only works when name is a string. You can even type that to help yourself remember. Huh? No. Ruby is stubborn. It cares about the type, right? If you pass in a name, it will crash. In some languages, like JavaScript, if you just give a number, JavaScript will say, I'm going to convert that number to a string. Well, in some cases. So with Ruby, even though Ruby cares about underneath, Ruby never asks you to tell Ruby what it is.
This is another program I'm using when the method returns something, and I forget what the type is. So I need to look at again and I try to reuse the method.
Can you try again? So speak again.
When I create a method, and I just return the last line in the return, I do not remember what the type, what whatever it is returned.
Yeah.
So when I try to reduce it, I have to look at the
Yeah.
method again and again.
Do we understand the question?
So he's saying sometimes he forgets what the method does.
Yeah. So I understand the question, but you see, when Lloyd tried to explain your question, it's a very interesting interpretation of the situation. So what Ian says is that what happens when I write a method. So a method is like there's input and output, right? This is your input, and the output is what happened when you finish the method and you return something. And Ian say, what happens if I just don't remember the type of my, what I return? So I have to check, oh, is it a number? Is it a string? Okay? And then Lloyd say, his, understanding of the question is that you forgot what the method does.
Right.
So how do we solve that problem?
You just look at the code. You have to look at the code.
If you reduce the code, if you reduce the method, inside method.
Yeah. No, this is very good. It's a bit more advanced. So if you sort of feel like, oh, what is he talking about? It's a bit crazy. So let's say I'll put this in the difficulty, okay? Difficulty in remembering what a method returns, okay? Right? For example, if I have a method like this, def get info, okay, and then maybe I pass in the, maybe students, all right? Maybe I say it's top student info, okay? If you write a method like this, and then your friend comes in and work with you, and your friend is like, thank you, but what is info? Right? Your friend will have to go and check, is it a number? Are you getting the age? Or is it the name? Are you getting the name? Or are you getting the student's parent's name? Or the student's score? So don't write method like that. Because then Lloyd say, you forgot what your method does. Basically, all of us want to write very clear thing. For example, instead of that, you write get name students, right? So if you say get name, or you just say, get top student name, right? For example, get oldest age students. You get the oldest student, but you're returning the age. So if I ask you get oldest age, does it return a number or a string? Number, right? Age is just a number. And if I say get name, does it return a number or a string? Right? It's not an array or anything. So the answer to your question is your convention, your habit. Write method that is very clear to yourself and to the reader. It's what it returns. Don't write method that just say, it can return anything, okay? On sunny days, it will return a number. On rainy days, it will just return a string. And then that will be very difficult to work with. So your method should do something really simple as you can.
If there is a change of method, and if there is a bug, I know to change.
If there is
a change of method, some method reduce each other.
Yeah. So he's using the word chain. You guys don't worry about it. But for example, chaining methods. This is, for example, I have a string, right? I have an array, 1, 2, and I call sort on it. Remember the sort method? But I can also sort, and after that I get an array back, and I call reverse. Then I get the array, and I reverse the array. Good question there. For example, if I do join, when I join two strings together, what do I get? An array or an array or a string? A string, but then you say dot reverse. Then what happens? You're not calling a reverse on a string, on an array, you're calling a reverse on string. So these are two different methods, right? Okay. So Ian's question is sometimes maybe I thought this is still an array. So maybe I do dot length. And then dot length up here is 2. But dot length down here, that's bad, right? Is 6 characters. Well, again, it uses you have to write code that that give a good gives yourself and anyone else a good prediction. If you use Ruby code, likely it'll be okay. Sometimes you may be surprised. That's okay. Like remember the pop method or the push method. You're like, wait, what? Why does it return a number? Oh, the index method, it returns a number, and then you cannot just say dot index. Where is it? And then dot reverse. Where's index? Here, right? You can do dot reverse, dot sort, but if you do dot index, it becomes a number now. And then you do dot reverse, Ruby will complain. There's no method reverse for a number, for an integer, right? So then you just calmly look, okay, where in the chain did that happen? Is it clearer now, Ian? Cool. So good question there. That's more. The takeaway is don't write something that is really not clear what the value is. Okay. Now I go back to this name thing. So say hi is returning nil actually. It's just calling puts or print to the screen. But we have another method. Let's say full name. So first and last. I don't want to say puts first plus space plus last. This is okay. I can call first name, full name, Adam Smith. It will print. It will print to screen Adam Smith, right? It will output. I'll just use the word output. Okay. I don't advise doing it like this because when you write full name, this method, it's actually not saying anything about writing out to the screen. Okay? If you really want to do this, you might want to call this put full name or output full name or like print, right? Here you just say full name. It means I want a string back, right? What is the type of full name? It's a string. So you can also just make it really clear. Get full name, okay? So therefore, I recommend take out the puts. Now, what do we have as the return value? A string. And if you do it alone like this, then Ruby may skip over it, right? Ruby runs it and you don't see it on the screen. So then you do puts. And now if you want to test it with more than one case, then you're just like Adam Smith or like, Justin Bieber. Then again, this will be upward Justin Bieber. Okay? I think I kind of like the symbol like this. Hey, it's a comment and here's the output. Any question about? Did that answer your question? Well, cool. Very quickly about parentheses, guys. So if you have your eyes on the screen again. Let me explain why this space, and this space, Ruby can all understand very well, okay? Ruby will look at this, guys, and the plus is more important than the puts, okay? So Ruby is grouping them like this. So it's the same if you put your code like this. Sometimes you feel like, hey, if I write the code this way, my friends will understand the code better. Ruby will understand it all the same. Your friend may like it better, okay? But some friends will be like, idiots, this is Ruby, no need to type parentheses when it's, So for puts, it's so common that even though it's a method, it looks like a special thing. You can feel free to do this like that, okay? So sometimes you see puts here, you always see a space here. In reality, when Ruby read your code, Ruby will put a parenthesis here and then parenthesis there. Okay, this is how Ruby understands your program. Puts is a method. What you give to puts is one argument. So, but again, if you start writing code like this, you're like, maybe I should go back to C. Right? No, Ruby is more fun than that. So let's get rid of the parentheses when we don't need to. Okay. Of course, in this case, if you get rid of these parentheses as well, look what happened. Can Ruby understand? Hell no. Right? What do you think? So Ruby will be like, okay, puts full name, this and this. And I don't know, maybe it does, but I don't think it does. Because it will, at some point, puts will want to talk to full name before full name gets Smith at the end here. If you're a human, you're reading this, it will take you an extra 5 seconds to guess what it's doing, right? So don't do this to yourself. Let's try it, okay? So again, because this is a line, I'm just gonna select the entire line. How do you do that? You click 3 times, tap, 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 and then go down here. Try this. Undefined, whoops, my bad. And I now need to. Oh, it works! So that's something new, but Ruby understand, but I don't. Right? So there's something that basically, the comma here is still more important, and then this will go in and group them like that, and then after it finished there, you just group them like that. Okay. So yeah, don't challenge yourself. Don't write super smart code. It's like, I'm so smart, I'm just gonna get rid of the parentheses. And then the next day you wake up sleepy. I'm like, why am I so stupid? I don't understand the code I wrote. So if you're smart yesterday, it may not be the same tomorrow. So just make sure the code is stupidly simple.
What happens if you add 2 puts?
Yeah, no, excellent point. So what happens if I add another puts here? You see an empty line here? It's doing it again. So the puts this one get evaluated last. You see how even though it's the first word, it read Adam, it read Smith, and then full name, it return Adam space Smith, and then puts will print the first one, Adam Smith, and then after that puts something, returns nil. Okay, put something, print something, and returns nil. So it means puts doesn't return anything. It's a nil, like empty thing. And then when you say puts nil, it prints an empty line. Yes?
Something I struggled with for a long time about return is look at it this way. Methods, normally we want it to give us something back so we can use it somewhere else. So like when Harley says return, it means that like this is the information we want back from this method we run. That's what the return is.
Right. Thank you, Lloyd. Return is you hear the word the term return a lot, and it's basically what Lloyd just explained is what comes out of the method.
Yeah. So like we call the method and then we want it to give us something back, right?
Yeah.
So for example, full name, right? We give it a first name, we give it a last name, and we want it to give us back a full name, right? That's why we call it full name. So when we call this method, we're expecting it to give us something back. We're expecting it to return us something. So that's what Harley B2 says return. This is something that was very abstract and understand for a while.
Okay. Are we all clear on the return thing? Nice.
So is that a case that we need to return voids?
Yeah. So in another language you may say void, and here it's just like nil.
So is that a case that we make that return nil?
Yeah. Look at this say hi method. If I call say hi, do you really care what say hi returns? No, you just want to say hi, so you just print.
We want to reuse a method that return a new method.
Sometimes you have a method that may return a string or return nil. For example, a method that say find Adam. Right? You find Adam in the class, and then you find Adam, you return maybe the string Adam. Or if Adam doesn't exist in the class, you return nil. So that's when you use nil. In another case here, say hi is a method that does what we want it to do, like just print hello. Hello Ian, hello Louis, right? But after it's done, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to do, put say hi. I don't need to do result is of say hi is this, and then I use the result, right? So in some cases, you don't care what the method gives back to you. You only care what it does. Okay. In this case, though, it's very clear we're not done yet, right? I need the full name so that the next guy will just say, now you can implement say hi on full name of Adam Smith. You see how we use them together? And I advise you to use the parentheses here because it's clearer. If you start doing it like the way you do puts, it will work. But then your friends will be like, oh, cool, Ruby has a say hi method. I'm like, no, say hi is my method, man. Right? So we keep it this way. But you see how we combine this, we care about the return value. And then say hi, we don't, so I don't need it. Okay?
So is there a way to separate your method with the Ruby code method?
Well, separate. Your methods, you define it in the file.
So you need to remember all of your method that you said before. But you need to remember which method that you have described it, you have do it, and the method that the Ruby suggests.
Okay, the question is, when do you know, right? What's your, huh?
Yeah, when
I think you're worrying a little too much. You're worrying that you have 1,000 methods and you just can't keep track of them, and you're worrying that Ruby has 1,000,000 methods and you can't remember them. So the answer is,
if I create some method, how do I know that is my method?
sure, if you create a method and you don't remember it, just forget it, right?
It's not very good, probably. If you know that you're gonna remember it, probably.
If you write a method, you have an intention to use it. If you write a method and then you don't remember that, that's okay. Probably just a fun method somewhere. I wrote say hi, tomorrow I forgot it, it means I never need to use it again. If you need to use it again, then you can look back at your code, right? And you just need to look up the file, really. When we learn more about how Ruby reads, right? It reads your file, it reads from another file. In your file, you can say load data from other files, right? And you can start finding them. So, no problem. I think Ian's question is when, how do we know my method, like, do I have say hi here, right? Do I have puts here? So the answer is just use it and then just look at the error. So, for example, I don't have say hi, then I defined it. Only then I need it. So this is called error-driven development, right? You just do. I encourage you to do this. You just start writing out what you need, and then you look at the error. You're like, oh, of course, I need the method say hi, right? For example, hey guys, how do we take the total of two numbers? So total like 1 and 2 should be 3, right? I type this and say undefined method total, no problem. Now I total 1 and 2. No, of course, I cannot put the value here, right? A and B. And I return A plus B. And I do N, and then now I do total 1, 2, and you get 3. So the point here is only write the methods that you need. Sometimes you even write total 1, 2 before you implement the method total 1, 2. So you never run into the situations like, oh, before I use all these methods, I'm going to go and define 100 methods. And tomorrow I'm going to forget about them then. There's no need. Yeah, so this is called documentation, right? You talk to each other, go to the board and say, hey, I'm going to write a get name method. I implement a get age method. All right? I will implement like say hi method. your teammate doesn't need to know how you write those methods. The teammate knows that you have 3 methods they can use. Right? And your teammate can just go and type say hi, and then it doesn't work, and then your teammate will be like, hey Ian, can you implement this method for me? And then you're like, dude, look at my code. It's say hello, it's not say hi. Are you blind? It's okay, then they just, take a look. It's never a problem. Just errors are not the end of the world here, right? Like, we're not building a rocket application. Even rocket is okay, probably. Just explode, not a problem. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we just learned yesterday. Any other difficulty that we may want to add? That's it, right? I covered the whole round. Great. Did you have any few tips that may help others? Eat before class. I'm just kidding. Or like drink. Oh yeah, like shower or drink coffee 5 times a day. Or like, I don't know, do something when you're sad. Any good tips that may help yourself or others? Anyone?
Just ask if you've got multiple names, would you put full name 1, full name 2, full name 3, just be full name and then...
Excellent question. So here's one more thing is multiple names. So here will be multiple different values after you call methods. So then no problem. Then you just say, for example, you call it name 1 is full name of Adam Smith, right? Name 2 is a variable, full name of rock band or something like that. So they just have different values here. The method is done. It gives you back the full name value.
Returns.
Okay, I'm using Loy's terminology now. To give back. Okay. Good. So any good tips? My tips here will be like the rubber duck thing that you guys got. Okay. Rubber duck debugging. Wow, look at that. And I think we have exactly what you guys just received as gifts yesterday. Oh my God. Right? In software engineering, you guys are taking yourself very seriously from now on. You guys are software engineers, right? It's a method of debugging code, right? So you should carry around our rubber duck and then forcing themselves to explain it line by line to the duck. So if you're stuck and none of the teaching assistants or myself are around, talk to the duck. And if the duck doesn't talk back, then squeeze it. All right. Cool. So that wraps up the recap of yesterday. I think this itself, for those who did not come to class, they can still watch this and give us more feedback on how to improve.